Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who's been practicing, just kind of casually standing around and surveying his surroundings in the midst of the battle at the Black Gate with Nazgûl on their fell beast swooping immediately overheads. Just like Gandalf. He's trying to be as cool as Gandalf, essentially. Thank you, Drowsnake. Drowsnake says, I'm glad to be with you, Professor, here at the end of all things. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to be with you guys too. I'm a little bit later than usual because I was rushing back today from the film studio, our Rings and Realms studio, where I was filming another announcement because we just funded our Kickstarter today, which was awesome. But anyway, so I was up at the studio doing stuff up there, but I wanted to make sure to get back for Gryfflet today because today we're gonna finish the Battle of the Black Gate, and this whole sort of segment. Well, I was gonna say this whole segment of the game when in fact it's like the opposite. It's the other way around, right? We're starting a new segment of the game. This is one of the things that I admit I have a hard time appreciating, as I'm quite sure I have never ever come to endgame in Lotro. In the world in which I live, the story of the Lord of the Rings Online goes on infinitely. Like it never actually ends. You never actually get to the end of content because they produce content faster than I can play it. So I started when it was well advanced. I'm trying to remember what was the most recent release when I started. It might be Moria, somewhere around there. I'm sure it was before Rohan. I remember being in game. Like, I remember when the excitement about Rohan was coming out and I was already playing by then. Anyway, so anyway, but like I said, so from there was already massively more than I had gotten to, and they've been producing it faster than I could play it ever since. So yes, I don't have the experience that many of you have had of coming to the end game right here in the middle of the battle at the Black Gate. But today I wanted to alleviate the suspense and get through the battle sequence and through the gates and into Mordor, hopefully today. Yeah, it's true, JJ, that if we played Lotro at Studio Lab, it could be big enough to stand along with Gryfflet and Gandalf there. Yeah, no, it would. We could easily do that. Yeah. So anyway, it's tremendously fun. Well, let's get through the Battle of the Black Gate and see the ending of it here, and then we'll see if we can start Mordor today also. All right. So what am I supposed to do again, Aragorn? Oh, I'm defeating foes. Yeah, that's all. So Aragorn, you just to clarify,
we must fight for as long as we can.
Right. In memory of our friends, in defense of those endangered, this may be Sauron's hour, but we will make him earn it with blood. Okay. Let's make him earn it with blood. Yeah. Yeah, my big question with playing Lotro on the big screen at Studio Lab would be, on the video, because they have a, 10 feet by 40, or 15 feet high? Yeah, it's 15 feet high and 45 feet, 50 feet across, something like that, curved video wall. And it's a resolution question. I wonder how the resolution would do on that wall, because it's a very high res wall, of course. But I remember when I was first standing next to these, full-size images from Rings of Power in season 1 of Rings and Realms, I would be standing there in front of the digital wall, and I'm like, Okay, so I'm here. I am today, joined by like Charlie Vickers' pores here on his skin. I mean, it's so detailed at that size. But anyway, all right, Gryfflet, time to go and just defeat a few other random folks. All right, we got some folks behind me over here. See if you can go 3 for 3 in one-shotting foes at the Battle of the Morannon. That'd be pretty awesome. Oh yeah. Okay. Talking to Elrohir, who's up on top, I think. Yeah. Took care of it, Aragorn. No problem. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Hey there, Elrohir.
I see something on the distant horizon. A new threat?
But I cannot yet make it out. Does a new threat seek to strike from the rear? Go to Mithrandir atop the Slag Hill and see what he thinks of this new arrival, Gryfflet. Quickly. This is awesome. You know what's awesome about this? Like, notice the delicacy with which the Lotro folks are balancing the two things, right? That is, on the one hand, they're working to adhere to the story of the books very closely, right? And yet they also want to take advantage of the interactive gaming mechanism of this adaptation, right, in order to involve us, to really draw the reader directly into the story, you know, to turn from reader into active participant in the story, which is one of the most delightful and magical elements of a video game adaptation in the first place, right? So notice how they're doing this. They could make us spy the eagles on the horizon and shout, "The eagles are coming," right? You know, to kind of give that role to us. That would make us even more special and even more involved, right? But that would change the book pretty significantly. In fact, it would kind of deprive us of the moment in the book when Gandalf says, "The eagles are coming," right? It's Gandalf who cries it out in the book. So notice how they've walked that line, right? They're going to still give Gandalf the line. They're still going to give him that role, but they're still going to involve us, right? We're like, Gandalf is the one who's going to call out the eagles are coming, but he only does so because we draw his attention to it. I think that's a really fun way to kind of balance that.
What now?
What now, Gryfflet? You bring tidings from the sons of Elrond? They did not wish to tell me themselves? The wizard readies a further rebuke for the elves, but it remains unsaid. His eye lights upon the distant horizon, and wonder brightens his face.
The eagles are coming! The eagles are coming!
Go I hear the Wind Lord and his noble subjects fly to the aid of the host of the West. Let us see if the Nazgûl enjoy this challenge to their superiority in the air, Gryfflet. Speak to me, and we will wade once more into battle. Absolutely. Yes, Druid's Fire. The eagles are always coming when I'm streaming, right? That's the beauty of the Signum logo behind me. And indeed, of course, the reference in the Signum logo behind me. That's why an eagle swooping in, it's why an eagle swooping in like this is the symbol of Signum University in the first place.
Once more into battle, my friend.
Little tangential Shakespeare
Why here
reference
the
there.
Wind Lord and his noble subjects have come to the aid of the host of the West.
Right. Oh, sorry. I thought that was going to be a little more story there. Wait, woohoo! There they are. Got some aerial combat going on here. Gwaihir and the Eagles will keep the Nazgûl occupied, but the battle still rages upon the ground, Gryfflet. Let us press the advantage given to us by our winged allies and set the orcs upon their heels.
The tide turns in our favor.
Yes! Wow, once again, tanking for Aragorn. And now they figured out that he's the threat. I say he's the threat, but, like, I'm the one actually taking everybody down. Okay, you pretty much got that one, Aragorn. Don't want to kill steal you there. Okay, alright. Well, we got these two, apparently. Alright, where are we going, Aragorn?
To me!
Alright, just Aragorn, Éomer, and I. Standing with Mithrandir. Just like Elendil, Gil-galad, right? Elrond. Do you sense that? Something is amiss, Gryfflet, but I cannot discern what it might be. Some new artifice of the Dark Lord may be revealed to us. Stay near to me. Okay. Oh. All right, here we go.
The Nazgûl flee from battle? What can this mean? Sauron has summoned them back to Mordor. Why?
Stand, men of the West! This is the hour!
This is the hour of doom.
The ring-bearer has completed his quest. Why here to me?
I love how Gandalf immediately, like, that his very first thought is like, oh, quick, we gotta rescue Frodo. Frodo has fulfilled the quest of the ring, and he may still live. We must act quickly, Gryfflet, or he will never come alive from the Black Land. If Gwaihir and his brother will bear us into Mordor, we may yet come to Frodo in time. Gwaihir, Lord of Eagles, 2 times you have borne me, my friend, and this will be the last and the most needed. If your brother Landreval will bear Gryfflet, we will have the best chance of finding Frodo before he is overcome. Fly now to Orodruin. Fly now to Mount Doom.
Mordor shakes beneath Orodruin's wrath. Fly swiftly, my friend. If Frodo or Samwise still live, we have to find them quickly.
The mountain burns. I will circle to the far side, but someone must search the nearest slope, and with haste.
That is a task for my adventurer. We will circle Orodruin and come back for you. May one of us find our hobbits.
Okay, all right, so I've got to search. So they're going to put me down in order to search for Frodo and Sam. Love it. Again, I have done this once before, but I've only done it the once. This is not the time to look at pillars. Okay. No matter how intriguingly carved their capitals may be. Do I have a map? Yeah, sorry, I did forget to check the battle map before. Okay, so this is the Orodruin map. Samath Naur. I'm not... Omani asks, is this the best time to ask why the Eagles didn't just fly Frodo to Mount Doom? What, you mean originally? Yeah. It's a classic question, obviously, with several different... As most Tolkien questions do. I know the path doesn't go this way. I'm just sightseeing. Ooh. Because, like, on the slopes of an active volcano is when you want to be doing sightseeing in general. Okay. Up we go. Yeah, one of the complicated things, of course, is that almost all Tolkien questions have multiple answers. And we've talked about this before. There's what you could call the in-world answer and the out-of-world answer. And even that, you could kind of break those down a little bit further. There's the sort of story answer. So when I say the in-world answer, there's also different perspectives on that, right? Like asking this from essentially the point of view of several people, right? Yeah, because it wouldn't work is a pretty good answer too. Frodo and Sam! Hey! Sam, how's it going? Good to see you and still alive. Gryfflet, is that really you? Sam looks at you with bleary eyes. His exhaustion is apparent, and he seems to believe that you are... he seems to disbelieve that you are really standing here. We can't go any further. We got this far, but... Sam reaches into one of his pockets and withdraws a small item. He presses it into your hand. Where there's life, there's hope, he says.
Where there's life, there's hope.
I've obtained the Phial of Galadriel, huh? It's not in my inventory, though. Right. Oh, well. Walk to the edge of the outcropping. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm gonna... Woohoo! That's right. Use the phial whose light is no longer suppressed. Oh, there we go.
The ring was destroyed. Gryfflet and his kin braved the great peril of the skies and carried our heroes from the wreck of the burning mountain. And on the Field of Cormallen, they were praised for their great deeds and the successful completion of the quest. The Lord of the Rings was no more, and Middle-earth was made safer by his defeat.
Safer. All right. An Orient after the battle. Woohoo. Okay, well, I know where the Field of Cormallen are. I did good work around here. Planting stuff.
The sum of my hopes has come to pass, beyond all belief.
A great darkness has been conquered. No longer will Sauron trouble Middle-earth as he did for thousands of years. The quest of the ring came in the end to the successful conclusion for which this old fool dared not hope, yet hoped for still. What a wonder it is to see this day.
Our friends have been through much, but I know they will want to speak with you.
Yes, do not let me keep you. But I know they will want to speak with you now that the danger is past. Frodo and Sam have rested from their journey, but it will take more than these few days to recover from the exertion of their ordeal. You will find them in a bower on the southeastern side of the field. Okay. Glad they're using the old word, bower. Not much in common usage anymore. Sorry, just looking around the fields here. Okay, so here's the thrones, right? Okay, with the Númenórean downward pointing star. Wow, they really went all out here. I mean, look at the big swan they built for Imrahil. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so from the perspective of the throne, what do we have? We have what clearly looks like Aragorn's pavilion, almost directly in front. They've got Rohan to the right. They've got King Éomer over there. Is Imrahil over here on the left? Looks like, by the banners. Okay, but then off to the right. So over here, this is miscellaneous territory. Over here behind Gandalf. Mostly men of Rohan, but then... Oh, we've got a whole pathway to the banner. Interesting with the blue bunting, like the blue Númenórean bunting. Which I always thought was designed to kind of suggest the sea. Gollum, that evil one. Is this Robert Plant? Are we supposed to sing that like Robert Plant? That was totally a Led Zeppelin reference that minstrel just made, right? Gollum and the evil one crept up and slipped away with... Right? I mean, that's clearly... Okay. Oh, we've got to enter into a different zone. Okay, what do we got here? So this is nice. We don't have a roof other than the trees, but it's kind of private. It's open and quiet. I expected this to be a tent, but this is quite nice. We've got a pie. Yeah. Okay. So we've got some nice food, an entire keg of ale. We've got this really nice bed set out. Is this Merry and Pippin? Yeah. Okay, so Merry is come and joining them at the Fields of Cormallen, which happens right away. All right, look how Sam is... So Frodo's lost his cloak and they haven't given it back. Right. Sam looks fancier than Frodo, even if only because his circlet goes like above his hair all the way around. Like Frodo's wearing a circlet too, but it's like lower key. Right. Anyway, I think that this is really interesting that they show Frodo standing a step behind Sam and sort of dressed more plainly. Like Sam is more prominent and looks fancier. And that I think is right, not because Sam is going to be trying to draw attention to himself, but because Frodo is trying to not draw attention to himself.
I beg your pardon, but Mr. Frodo needs his rest.
So many folk have come calling on him, some of them even bending the knee, and those who bowed the lowest were kings and princes themselves. Now, my master deserves every bit of it, but some of these even bowed to me, and I can't say I like that at all. Frodo carried the real burden, and he did all the hard work, if you ask me. Can you believe that old Strider turned out to be a king as well? When I first met him, I said to myself, Strider has a kingly air about him, doesn't he, Sam? But I didn't say anything of it to my master or to Merry or Pippin. There was enough going on in Bree that there wasn't time for it. So many high important folk paying attention to hobbits like us, Gryfflet. There's no mistaking that these are queer times. Loved the revisionist history by Sam. That's kind of funny. Yeah, obviously, he didn't like the look of him. Notice what they're doing here. What they're doing here is drawing attention to, as we pointed out before, they're pretty careful in Lotro not to use too many of the exact words of the text. A lot of people misunderstand this. The thing that a lot of people misunderstand is that having the rights to do adaptation of the story is not the same as having the full text rights. Those are separate rights. The full text rights are owned by HarperCollins, and so you need permission from HarperCollins if you're going to quote at length directly from the text. And as that is A, cumbersome, and potentially B, expensive, because they sometimes charge you for direct quotations from the text, that is, for the right to use the direct text. This is something that in scholarly publishing one has to think about a lot, as they will often send you a bill for the quotations that you use in your book. From the text. Not always. Sometimes they're quite generous about this, but things happen. Permissions, bills are real. Anyway, so this is why in Lotro they don't use the direct text so very much. Anyway, you may remember that in the book, when Sam sees Aragorn after he wakes up, his first words are, Strider, or I'm still asleep, right? He's marveling that it turns out to be Strider. And Aragorn's words to Sam are, Yes, Sam, Strider. We're a long way from Bree, aren't we, when you didn't like the look of me? So they're picking up, so they're not quoting the text, but they are alluding directly to that textual reference by putting this in Sam's words here. Yeah. Okay, so what was I going to say? You know, I'm fascinated at the jump forward that they've taken here, though. Talk about that more in a second.
Sam has spent so long worrying about me that it became natural for him.
Especially after our experience in Mordor. Frodo shivers despite the warmth in the air. I know Sam does not want to talk about it, but I would never have made it to the fire without him. Well, you know old Hamfast, which means you know that Gamgees love to talk, but the Gaffer and his son would prefer most any topic to speaking about themselves. So it falls on me to tell you that I may have carried the burden, but it was the strength of my dear Sam that guided me through despair and across the Deadlands. And at Mount Doom... Frodo's face is pale and he stops speaking. He seems relieved when Pippin breaks the silence with a boisterous cheer. Yeah, the leap is interesting. I'm waiting to see. I think we might do some flashbacks to it, to the stuff that we missed. But it's interesting. So, I mean, so we haven't gotten like we may get a retrospective session play of the actual Cracks of Doom and and the biting off of Frodo's finger and everything, the actual casting of the ring. But first, it's interesting that we've skipped over that, right? And we skipped over, Lotro has always gone out of its way to show us those moments from the book that they know to be meaningful to so many people, right? The opportunity to see the adaptation of that, to be immersed in those parts of the story that are really powerful for so many people is one of the things that Lotro has always gone out of its way to do, right? And so I can't, startled by the fact that I have a guest here. Oh my goodness, I jumped a foot. Because all of a sudden I had somebody pawing at me and whom I did not see coming. Sorry, little guest spot from Pixie here visiting today. Let's see if she's going to be good. Oh, my heart rate. Good grief. She's very stealthy sometimes. Holy cow. Anyway, yeah, that was quite a jump scare. Holy cow. Right, maybe she is part Mumak after all. Yeah, and she is Edith. I mean, she's terrifying at the best of times, but oh my goodness. Anyway, participation, Cracks of Doom. Yes. Okay. So, getting the opportunity to both witness, at least witness, if not actively participate in those moments of the story that are so meaningful, has been a standard part of Lotro procedure. And so the idea that they're not going to do that, the awakening at the Field of Cormallen, that we're going to come in and just like hang out with Frodo and Sam after they've woken up, after they've had the encounter that's described in the book with Aragorn, right? Seeing him as king and Sam exclaiming, and meeting Gandalf again for the first time, right? After they think he's dead, because they're the only ones who don't know he's still alive yet, right? Leading Sam to ask that wonderful and heavily weighted question, is everything sad going to come untrue? That moment on the Field of Cormallen, and then the singing of the minstrel of the Song of Frodo of the Nine Fingers and the Ring of Doom and the Aglario of that moment is such a powerful moment. Like, there's no way they're skipping that, right? So I assume we're going to flash back to it. But the fact that we've jumped past it all, right? That we go straight from, hey, Gandalf, over here, I found Frodo and Frodo and Sam, let's take them back, all the way straight to post Field of Cormallen scene, right, is that's a remarkable choice that they've made. So let's see how they handle it, and let's see what they seem to be kind of doing through this, why they're unfolding it in the way that they are. Okay.
3 cheers for Frodo Baggins, who destroyed the ring.
Which is a reference for 3 cheers for Frodo Baggins' Lord of the Ring, with which he greeted Frodo the last time Frodo was recovering from serious injury in Rivendell. Yeah. And save a cheer or two for Samwise Gamgee, who got to go with him. There's Pippin. And managed to miss out on a great deal of the fighting. Oh, I'm only teasing. I know that Sam saw some danger, although he doesn't want to talk about any of it. Both he and Frodo are awfully tight-lipped about their journey in Mordor. I don't blame them. Battles are nasty things. Merry and I certainly ended up seeing more than our share, and it was all very dirty and confusing. I wouldn't recommend it. Do you know that a troll fell on top of me? It's easy to laugh about it now it's done, but no one was laughing when we were in the thick of the fighting. I'm glad we are still here, Gryfflet. 3 cheers for Frodo and his friends. Interesting. They're playing Pippin as very unchanged, right? Let's see how they play Merry.
Finally, we can catch up with Frodo and Sam, and they don't want to talk about it.
I'm glad we have this time to catch up with Frodo and Sam. Pippin and I are knights of the city and the mark respectively, and we have been kept busy with those duties. At last we can chat, and they do not want to talk about it, or at least not in the detail our curiosities demand. Well, I can respect that. After the Pelennor battle, I could barely stand to tell Pippin what befell poor Theoden. In time, perhaps it will become easier for them to talk about the journey. It was like that with Éowyn. By the time I left Minas Tirith to come here, she had emerged from silent sorrows and had taken to speaking with Steward Faramir in the gardens. It seems to me that time and distance helps many shadows lessen. I wonder why Éowyn has not yet arrived. Éomer King called her hither, but she has not yet come to Cormallen. Yeah, wonder why that is. Oh, now I'm just supposed to, that's it? Okay. We're leaving. Okay, we're leaving. We're leaving by the path. That's how we're leaving. And see, but Phil, I don't think it's at all would be at all out of keeping to. And in the darkest depths of Mordor, did you meet a girl so fair? This is totally like the. Does this guy have a name? Garthabir? Okay. Yeah. Okay, Robert Plant. Yeah, that guy sure does like to ramble on. I agree. What are the odds that the next time we walk by him, he's going to mention something about the ring raids riding in black? Right. Anyway, but Phil, I was just going to say, I think that we have been squeezed into far more like narratively awkward scenes in the past. Like I can't understand any inhibition. There's a whole crowd of folks standing around at the Field of Cormallen when that stuff happens. Right. And think of the invitations we've gotten to be. I mean, like we were like in the room with Frodo when he was convalescing in Rivendell. We were standing around saying goodbye to people when the Fellowship was leaving Rivendell, in the early morning. So again, there's a lot of opportunity for, to squeeze us in. I don't think it would have been an awkward scene, at least no more awkward than many other scenes. All right, Éomer.
My uncle Theoden is avenged. Sauron is no more.
It cannot be questioned that soldiers of Rohan and Gondor played their parts, but in the end the fatal blow was struck by 2 hobbits alone in the Blackland. It is an amazement to me. I have heard that the Nazgûl came to fiery ends, speeding back to Mordor at their master's call when he learned of his true peril. With my mind's sight I can see them, caught in the blast of the flaming mountain, 8 fireballs scorching the sky, plummeting earthward and shrieking their final desperate cries. I wish that those of my soldiers who were carried aloft by those creatures during the Battle of the Black Gate could have known the fate of their murderers, the fate their murderers would shortly suffer. It gives me a great satisfaction to picture it on their behalf. Ride, Eorlingas, ride. You are avenged. See, but here's the interesting thing. It strikes me as unusual, maybe not. You know, maybe I'm kind of making more of it than it is. But it feels unusual to me that we're getting this in text description only. It's a big jump forward that we've done.
The fall of Sauron worked a great madness in his servants.
Yeah, see, what we're getting is we're getting the end of the battle at the Black Gate purely in text form, right? Like just in verbal, narrative. All right, hang on a second. Sorry, I have to. My guest wants some more screen time, apparently. Okay, here we go. Apparently, we're doing this with puppy accompaniment, and I'm going to apologize in advance because this means I'm going to be getting my hands licked for the rest of the show, most likely. So, if you hear any odd sounds in the background, that's what you're hearing. This here is what you're hearing. So okay, so I'm gonna have to be like, I hope I'm not don't push too many wrong buttons as my keyboard hand is being actively licked while I'm doing this. Okay. But as I said, like again, so notice how we're sequentially, piece by piece, being in some places reminded of what we saw happen. That is, like, we're getting reminded by Pippin, right? Remember how a troll fell on me. We're getting reminders from Éomer, right? Remember how the Black Riders were swooping down and killing a bunch of my riders that way. But then we're also getting the continued advance of the story, just through narrative, just through text. Which is strange. It's strange because, well, it's strange in part because, I don't know. I mean, like, you can't even count on. This seems strange to me, right? As like, not only am I obviously reading all the text, but I choose to read it aloud, right? But it's not like it's universal by any means, right? There are many, many people who don't read the text in video games. And so somebody who is not willing to sit down and read the many paragraphs of text that were being fed here is going to actually miss the whole plot. Like, they're going to be like, I was in the middle of a battle, then I found Frodo and Sam, and now I guess it's over, but we don't find out what happens. Like, well, you do, but only through the text. It's really interesting. Anyway, okay, but by all means, let's continue to hear the description. The fall of Sauron worked a great madness in his servants, Gryfflet, and many of them despaired once he was gone. Did some spell hold them ensorcelled while he yet lived, and death broke his hold upon them? I cannot say, but I did witness that many of the orcs cast themselves into pits or fell upon their weapons once he was gone. There were others among his servants that were made more ferocious by the fall of their master, and these fought long and with desperation. Some of them fled back through the ruins of the gate. I do not doubt that my king will send me against these others in time. But that is a thought for tomorrow. Today we celebrate the fall of Sauron. That's right. Happy Gondorian New Year, everybody. let's see. Where are we going? Oh, Gimli and Legolas. Okay. Hey, you guys want to help piece together the narrative here?
Yes!
That was quite a feast. That was quite a feast, and most well-deserved. It is not every day that an evil such as Sauron is laid low after all. It seems as if Elrond and Gandalf made the right choice back in Rivendell, doesn't it? Frodo Baggins may not be a dwarf, but he has proven to have the determination of my kind. All these hobbits seem to have it, present company included. Furthermore, young Peregrine Took could use a portion less of it, if you ask me. He is fortunate I saw him lying beneath that troll before the Black Gate, and heaved the great beast off him. I might have sworn up and down he was dead, and yet he lives and is up and about already. He has caused me so much trouble, and yet I am fond of him for all the bother. There will be days of merriment aplenty, Gryfflet, but sometime in the weeks ahead I must set my eyes to the north and return to the Lonely Mountain. My mind is full of ideas, and what dwarf wants that? We must speak to the king of Durin's folk and let these ideas out before they do me some harm. Ha ha ha! That's right. You never know when you'll be harmed by ideas. That actually probably happens quite a
Sauron
bit.
is no more, and can no longer burden Middle-earth.
Some of my folk may come to live in this land for a time, and I delight in knowing that it will remain green and growing for years to come, untroubled by Sauron's evil. But I will not stay long here. The first days of Gondor's new year will be filled with happiness, and I share the joy of its people. But my heart has another longing. The sea calls to me, and I would follow. But I will not follow that longing just yet, Gryfflet. Food, drink, and celebration must come first. We have all seen enough of darkness. Let us enjoy some lighter fare and savor the taste. I will add, by the way, this is an even stranger. This is an even stranger. It's even stranger to do this at the beginning. I'm thinking of the split, the division, where the end game left off, right? To have these be the first quests encountered, the first quests encountered after the new expansion launched, or whatever it was called. Okay. All right, we're looking for Radanir. Okay, let's see. Hey, Radanir. Where did we first meet Radanir? He's not one of those people that I immediately associate with an area like Lothrandir or Cowanglad. Yeah, it is good to see Radanir standing near a campfire. Like, good to see. I mean, standing is a little bit weird. You should be lounging, but it's good to see Radanir getting back to his roots. Trollshaws? Okay, yeah, it's possible.
Weigh your options carefully. This could be a costly choice.
Radanir looks at you grimly. I was speaking with some of the others, and they agree that you have a decision to make. Weigh your options carefully, for this could be a costly choice. A rare smile illuminates Radanir's features. You need to choose the tavern at which we can all meet, now that the Grey Company has accomplished its mission and we have fulfilled our oaths. You agreed to buy me 3 mugs of ale, as I recall, so you will want to select an establishment with a barkeep who sets a reasonable price. I recommend the Forsaken Inn, east of Bree. The fare is of low quality, but it was Candaith's favorite, and that is enough for me. We will not depart just yet. There is work still to be done for Aragorn to claim his throne, and many of us wish to help him set his kingdom in order. Some of us will remain here in the Southlands, even when the others return to their homes. I think I will travel with Lothrandir when he returns to Suri Kaila. It is a long road, and he would welcome the company. Also, there is a lake on the way to Forachel, and I promised a friend I would see it for myself. First of all, delighted to hear that Lothrandir survived after all of his trials, and I'm pretty sure I know which lake you're referring to and which friend. I love the fact that they are so confident in the storylines and minor characters that they have built, that he just needs to say that. There's a lake I need to visit for a friend. And, of course, we automatically know what friend and what lake and why. Yeah, that is just so delightful. Okay, he was encountered within the Linen Caves in the far northern reaches of the Trollshaws. Okay, I remember that. Okay. Great. Oh, hey, you made it. It's, what's his name doing here? Fun to see who's still alive. Okay, back to Mithrandir. What's he doing here? I mean, I assume he's come back after the successful taking of Caer Andros. I believe we did meet Gwyndeth during the epic. I think so, Phil. Though, I mean, most of the work with Gwyndeth was on side quests. But I think we did encounter Calanglad and Gwyndeth in the epic, but it's a little hard to say.
There is a small matter about which I wish to speak with you.
Okay.
Frodo's ordeal in Mordor has left its mark upon him.
No, I do not speak only of the finger he lost to Gollum's biting teeth. I speak of a mark that none can see, but still persists, casting a pall upon his heart. He has retired to the bower that was prepared for him. I will see that Samwise has a task to undertake that will free Frodo from his watchful gaze, and perhaps we can learn what still troubles our victorious ring-bearer. Okay. Right, yes, that's true. We definitely interacted with Gwyndeth. Oh, come on, that's not a Led Zeppelin song. Do better, Robert Plant. Yes, I remember now when we were gathering the Grey Company, we had that encounter with Gwyndeth when she was all like, I'm sorry I'm not into him, but, you know. Yeah.
My mind is still caught in a whirlwind of confusion.
Hello again, Gryfflet. Gandalf came by and had a task for Sam, and the two of them have gone off somewhere. If you're looking to speak with him, they are not here right now. My mind is still caught in a whirlwind of confusion. I cannot believe that the quest is over. I am not used to the idea that the ring is gone. In Mordor, I would shut my eyes and still see it burning inside my mind, tearing me apart. But it has been destroyed. Pippin insists that I write everything down before I forget the details, but I do not want to remember them, Gryfflet. I do not. If my friends knew the truth about what happened within Mount Doom... Frodo shakes his head and holds up his injured hand. It has been wrapped in a bandage and treated with care by Aragorn, but you remember the grisly sight of it. I labored beneath the burden of the ring as Sam and I crawled through Mordor and up the slope of Mount Doom. Much of the journey is hazy to me even now, and dear Sam told our friends most of the tale, but he did not tell it all. I think he wanted to spare me the shame of it. Ah, that is the truth. Shame. Deserved shame. Sam said that Gollum tracked us to the mountain, and at the end the pitiful creature overpowered us and stole the ring before we could cast it into the fire. But that is not the truth. Not all of it. I will tell you the truth, Gryfflet. I want to do what is right. Okay. I'm losing my audio, Pixie, because it's almost like someone is sitting on my cord. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What's this? I can look at the shortened account, or I can do the session play of the Cracks of Doom. Let me think. The Gollum session play. As if I would be even tempted to look at the shorter version. If it's still there when I come back from the session play, I might do it to compare and contrast, but yeah. Okay. Will Gollum have a murder button?
Gollum caught up to us on the slope of Mount Doom, and Sam stayed behind to deal with him while I entered the mountain, eager to be rid of the ring.
At this stage in his own personal journey, Gollum's only skill is the murder skill. Oh, hang on, I gotta get rid of these. Yeah, everything's all screwed up because it's in session play. Okay, hang on. I've got to like redo the whole screen here. Okay, how do I make this bigger? Oh no, I can't do that here. Oh, good grief. Hang on, I gotta do, no, not that. No, I said not that. Okay, UI settings. I hate that you have to reset. I mean, I kind of get it. I don't really, because I don't actually understand that much about software design, but let's see, what is it? Quest tracker. Yes. Okay, there we go. Excellent. All right. Find the hobbitses. Find the hobbitses. Do not get distracted by the local architecture. Make no attempt to discern whether or not the architecture here at the Sammath Naur is of Gondorian origin at all.
But Sam, dear Sam, could not bring himself to slay the wretched creature. He let him go.
JJ asks if I seriously believe that Gollum didn't pause even briefly to analyze the architecture on his way up. Yes. This archway, precious. What is its provenance, precious?
And so it was that Gollum followed Sam into the mountain.
Yes. The flagstones, precious. Okay, yeah. Love the glowy red Eye of Sauron lights. Ah. Okay. There's Frodo standing alone on the brink.
I am here, but now I choose not to do what I came to do. I will not destroy it.
The ring is mine.
The ring is mine! Master, no! Frodo!
Can I hit the murder button? Get the ring. gets thrown. The precious is ours. Dance, precious, dance. Right. Angle. Yeah. They're very reminiscent of the film. Yeah.
When the ring went into the fire, the power of Sauron went with it. His works were unmade, and he was undone. Were it not for Gollum, the quest would have failed. After coming so far, after enduring so much, after the sacrifices and the suffering of so many friends, when at last I stood at the crack of doom, I could not do it. I chose not to destroy the ring. How can I bear the shame of it? I let them down. I let everyone down.
The precious at last. Okay, I was going to say, I seem to be stuck in the Sammoth Tower. That's not so good. I really love this. So in the book, we don't see Frodo wrestling with this openly. You can see how uncomfortable he is with being celebrated, with the stories that are being told about him. Tolkien is very subtle about this particular issue. I think that this issue is there in the book, that he is aware. He feels that he failed. He doesn't seem to be, he doesn't have moments of like this degree of self-condemnation in the book. But yeah, it's very much a factor. Hang on a second. I got the, the farmer's fair but see, I don't want to just filter these quests because like I might someday want to do them. Okay. Yeah.
You know the truth now.
So many good people suffered. So many good people died so that I could get to the mountain. And in the end, I could not bring myself to do what everyone depended upon me to do. How can I live with the shame of it? You tell Frodo that what little you learned of the ring during your own adventure has taught you that it was an artifact of great power and great evil, and that it could work its temptation upon even those of good hearts and strong will. Maybe you are right, Gryfflet. Your words do not erase my shame, but even though the ring is gone, I can still remember how I felt in that moment, standing above the fire. I do not wish to destroy it. I did not wish to destroy it. I would have rather died than allow it to be taken from me. I cannot imagine how Smeagol survived for so long after the ring came to Bilbo. Or perhaps I can. It was the desire for it that drove him, and that feeling is familiar to me and painful. Pippin worries that I will forget the details of my journey if I do not write them down, but the details are etched upon my memory. I cannot believe that I would forget how I felt in that moment, but perhaps I should write it all down. Perhaps I should write it all, and it will serve as a reminder and as a warning. A reminder that good purposes can go ill, but that evil purpose might still serve good. And a warning not to judge either too readily. That's well done. That's really nicely turned. To be careful about judging evil, right? That's implicit in Gandalf's entire don't be too quick to deal out, death in the name of judgment, right? His pity comments about Gollum, right? Of course. But Frodo turning that around so that, his emphasis is on, don't be too quick to judge good as well, right? So just as you should not be too quick to condemn a villain, right, like Gollum, he is surely as bad as an orc, right? But you also should be not too quick to celebrate a hero, right?
Thank you for easing my mind and my heart.
Gandalf has returned, and now I think I see the makings of a conspiracy. But thank you for the kind words, and I give my thanks to Gandalf as well. I am very fortunate to have friends such as you. I am ready to have a rest and an end to adventuring. I shall be content just to see Bilbo again, and to return to the Shire. I will write down my part of the Quest of the Ring, all of it, and I will be thankful for the opportunity to live in peace. Also, notice how, I mean, that's pretty meta, right? That they have not only given us a role, given us as PCs, right? A direct role in the story, but now they just made us instrumental to Frodo writing the story at all, right? That's pretty cool. It's one thing to be like, the Fellowship would not have ever made it through if it had not been for the player character, right? But it's a different thing entirely to say, the Lord of the Rings would never have been written down if not for the player character. The whole new level.
I am glad to hear that Frodo has decided to write down his tale after all.
It has been my experience that sometimes a hobbit simply needs a bit of a push to get started on a thing, but once he has set his mind to it, the results are often admirable. I trust you told Frodo that no one could willingly have destroyed the ring? I meant to return more quickly and tell him that, but Samwise grew suspicious that I was wasting his time and required more assurances, or he would hastily return to his master. Wasting his time. Me! Mithrandir chuckles mirthfully. I was, of course, but that is neither here nor there. All that matters in the end is that you have assuaged Frodo's concerns and helped him come to terms with his experience. He deserves that, and more for the deed he deserves that and more for the deed he has done on behalf of Middle-earth. But enough chattering. Aragorn has asked to speak with you. I was expecting this to culminate in a conversation with King Elessar. Trusting says, all we have to decide is what to waste of the time that is given to us. All we have to decide is whose time to waste, right? Yes. Oh, come on. Come on, Robert Plant. You're devolving now. So I disagree. As lovely an idea as it is in its way, I disagree that any measure of redemption is had by Gollum. And I think it's an important element of the story. An important element of the story that what he does entirely for ill purposes. The point is not that, because it's important not to take away, like, to call evil deeds. Like, what he did was wrong all the way through. One can pity him, right? One can appreciate the fact that he was suffering, but that's not a redemption, right? Pity and redemption are different things. Boromir achieves redemption, right? Boromir does wrong. Boromir does an evil deed and then achieves redemption. And that is very different from Gollum. Gollum remains an object of pity. One can, and Frodo certainly does, pity him more and more the more that he comes to know him, right? Remember, that was implicit in Gandalf's original comment. You have not seen him, he says, when Frodo expresses that he does not feel any pity for Gollum. But anyway, but that's not to say that Gollum is redeemed. That is, that he in his own choices turned away from the evil path that he had chosen, and therefore, gained redemption that's the victory that Boromir has won, that Aragorn, comments on in those words. His sacrifice of his life in his attempt to save Merry and Pippin is the actual reversal of the choice that he had made, of the path he had started walking down. Gollum never did. All of his actions, all of his choices to the very, very end are all still totally selfish, totally malicious. He doesn't ever turn and make the positive choice. He almost did at one point, right? The fatal moment right before the entering into Shelum's lair. But he didn't. And so I think that that's important. Yeah. Yeah, he accidentally achieves a positive result. Even more, Drowsnake, a positive result is achieved despite him, through him, right? His own evil choices do become the instruments through which good comes about. But yet they remain evil. That doesn't make them good. It is just that they have been arranged so that they are good to have been. I'm here using quotations from the Silmarillion and the Book of Lost Tales. These are ideas that Tolkien had, philosophical, theological ideas that Tolkien had. But it's important. Just because good is brought out of evil doesn't make it less evil. Because you could never use that as a justification, right? I'm going to do a horrible, selfish thing to somebody, but good may come of it for them, so it's not so bad. No, it is. Yes, good may still come to them, not only despite the evil thing that you've done to them, but even potentially through that experience. But that does not do anything to reduce that it was very evil and very wrong of you to, like, whatever, harm them or whatever it was. Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, here. Sorry. Pixie, would you chill out and lie down? Stop looking at my hands. Okay, Aragorn, what do you have to say?
We have come through the long night, to the dawn at last.
I just realized the reason that my little dog here keeps licking my hands is that I'm gesticulating, and she thinks I'm, like, trying to draw her attention to my hands. Okay. We have come through the long night to the dawn at last. Many were the days I believed all my choices were going wrong, but despite those errors, we have seen the destruction of the ring and the downfall of Sauron. When Frodo completed his task, Mordor was shaken to its very foundations by the eruption of Orodruin. The Black Gate and the Towers of the Teeth crumbled and fell, but who can say what lies behind them in the land that was Sauron's? There is a shroud over the plateau of Gorgoroth, and it masks our sight. Aragorn smiles wryly. I have not yet been crowned king, but already I am thinking about Gondor's future. Can we not have one day of satisfied peace? Sauron is no more. There will be a new ordering of the calendar to mark the occasion. In the kingdom of Gondor, the new year will begin on March 25th, the day on which Sauron fell and hope was restored to Middle-earth. There are still many preparations to be made before I can ascend to the throne of Gondor, but today is a day of celebration. My friends and my kin have earned this day of victory. Enjoy this day, Gryfflet, for you too were instrumental in its arrival. Ah, the delightful thing to be told by Aragorn, right? You were instrumental in the achievement of the downfall of Sauron and the destruction of the ring. What else was I going to say about this message? Oh yeah, of course, he's also pointing us toward our next region that we're going to be headed to. Okay. Let's see. Talk to Mithrand here again. Okay.
Frodo's adventure has ended, but Middle-earth will still have need of heroes.
Gondor will need you, as will others among the free people, dwarves, elves, and hobbits. Be ready for their call, my friend. A great evil of the world is departed, but there are others that will need heroes to face them. Do not face them alone. Some measure of the strength of Sauron was bound to his ring, but much of his strength was derived from his mastery over the weak, and the weak of will. I foresee that some of those freed from his dominance will seek to gain advantage from his fall. The shroud over Gorgoroth is a veil that must be pierced if Middle-earth is to live free from fear. Frodo will write the tale of his adventure, but the next adventure will be yours alone to write. My own time on these shores is drawing to a close, for my purpose is ended. You look at him with the dawning understanding that his charge was to combat Sauron, and now that the Dark Lord is defeated, the wizard must leave Middle-earth. Oh, do not look at me like that, foolish hobbit. I am not leaving tomorrow. I will not depart until I know things are well in hand, and your kind has not yet proven that you are able to manage on your own. He stands there spluttering for a moment. There is a twinkle in his eye when he speaks again, and he seems less like Mithrandir, or any of his other many names, and more like he was when you first met him, Gandalf. I will say this to you, and it will be my last word on the subject. As for this business with the ring, I commend you on a job well done, my dear Gryfflet. Very well done indeed. The next adventure. You should meet at the Black Gate as soon as you are able. Vector quest back to the Black Gate. And that's it, right? Man, it is surprising. If I was still thinking we might flash back, and we did through session play, flash back at least to the destruction of the ring. But it's still surprising. Uh-oh. Oh, Aragorn just sent me mail. It's kind of like texting somebody who's sitting in the same room with you. Okay, my dear friend. Excuse me. My dear friend, I hope this letter finds you well and continuing to fight for the free people of Middle-earth in any capacity you can. The forces of evil are always arrayed against us, despite the victories or defeats of their dark master. And yet, I know in my heart that we must take what rest we can, and cherish sorry, it's hard, the text is small, and cherish times of peace that we may steel our resolve for times of hardship. Oh my goodness, still was. To that end, I desire your attendance at my wedding to Arwen Undumio. Oh, right, yeah, I'm not ready for that yet. The wedding is planned for Midsummer's Day, and stable masters in major towns and cities should be able to bring you hither as that day approaches. I await you in the Tower of Icthelion in Minas Tirith, midsummer. My friend, let us make the most of this time of celebration, for our recent adventures have shown me that danger is never far off. A time of peace must be appreciated, lest it vanish for good. Your friend, Aragorn, Elessar, King of Gondor. Aragorn, Elessar, Strider, Telcontar, Thorongil, King of Gondor. Okay. Great. So that didn't... There's no quest? Just a letter? Just a letter that says, travel here and then you'll pick up the quest. So I don't get a vector quest to it. Okay. Okay. Complete. Volume 4. Okay. The great wedding will soon arrive. Is the deed I completed? Okay. A little weird. But okay. Okay. And that's it. Gandalf says, race you to the Black Gate, huh? Hey, Eladon and Elrohir, who are you talking to? Oh, that's right. I can't click on anybody here, so I don't know. Okay. Can I just say how useful it would be if people had floaty names in the real world? I'm telling you. That would be awesome. Is there a stable master around here? So I'm not going to do the wedding right away. I feel like I should do Mordor first and then do the wedding after that. Wait, there's a transport item? Sorry, my dog is Pixie's snoring now. There isn't a horse, is there? So I'm just supposed to up and ride for it? The horse is opposite Gandalf? Where? Oh, wait a second. I found it. Oh, there it is. Okay. To the Black Gate after the battle. Thank you, convenient horse. Okay, there are the Slag Hills. All is not quiet in Mordor, my friend. I need someone like yourself to be my eyes upon the wreckage of Sauron's domain. Aragorn has appointed Sador, a captain of Gondor, to watch over the Black Gate. Others lead an expedition into Mordor. While you are not obligated, I ask of you to join the company. Speak with Sador if you are willing to brave the plateau of Gorgoroth. Ah, yeah. By all means. I know. Drow Snake, right? Sador Lavadal?
Sauron has been defeated, but the evil he stirred to wakefulness persists.
Who can say what lies behind the shroud that covers Gorgoroth, beyond the wreckage of the Black Gate? The Dark Lord was a master of foul sorceries, and from the height of Barad-dûr he set many terrible plans into motion. I cannot believe that every one ended when he did. Adventurers have already begun taking hesitant steps through the ruin of the gate. Let us join them, and I will take their measure. The dangers that await in Mordor will be too great for some of them, I warrant. It depends on who they are. Strength of Sauron emote? What's the emote? SOS? Nope. I do not have it. Oh. Ha! Because it's in my pending loot. Okay, there we go. I've got lots of stuff there. Okay. Now let's try that again. Whoa. I now have... using this emote causes you to signal that you need aid by putting an epic quest ring above your head. That's cute. It's cute. Okay. So are my map time. Okay, here we are. We are headed... We're still in the waste, technically. Okay, sorry, just looking at the wreckage here. Okay, let's see. Oh no, I haven't finished the Black Book of Mordor yet. Gryfflet continues inexorably to gain ground on Wiggand, who has been moving ahead with stuff. Pretty quiet in here so far, though. Ah, there we are. We have entered Mordor. I hate it when there isn't a good place to put the quest list here. Can't go to Nirn yet. Can go to the Morgul Vale. Okay. All right, here we are in Mordor proper. All right, we're meeting out here. So we're inside the gates, though, right? Just. So that was the Black Gates themselves that we just walked through. Right here. Okay. All right. That was the wreckage in question. Okay. Let us meet Gandalf and this promising crop of adventurers. Gryfflet, what's wrong with you? Let's see, whom can we? We got Sador, we've got Harthelin. Oh, who else we got over here? Rogrin, what a great name. And no, that's it. Okay, sorry, just seeing who else we can meet here. Hello there, Sador. You are the target of my vector quest.
There is much to be done.
I cannot abandon my post here at the Black Gate. Aragorn has tasked me with keeping tally on those who enter Mordor and passing what information we have learned on to him. Yet there are affairs in Udun that must be looked after, which go unattended. Are you going that way? Perhaps you could be of some help. I was hoping you would say that. Okay. Let's talk to Gandalf before we pick up side quests. It's getting late. Why is my mouse behaving so very oddly? Can't seem to select things normally. It's very strange. I'll just toggle through them. Hang on a second. Who was that? Covadil? For a second, I thought that was going to be my herbalist friend again. Okay.
Do these adventurers think the fall of Sauron emptied his land of evil?
It is as I thought. Some few of these adventurers are made of stern stuff, but most of them are not prepared for the dangers that await them. Do they think that the fall of Sauron has emptied his land of evil? Aye, they believe none remain to guard his treasures, and they hope to have the picking of his coffers. But I must urge caution. Many of the artifacts that might be found within Mordor will be wholly evil, or corrupted beyond any use by good folk. Most of these adventurers do not know the first thing about dealing with such fell entrapments. Speak to them, Gryfflet, and try to dissuade them from such hasty courses, or at least give them these warnings, so that they will not blunder into their fates all unawares. After they are duly warned, you should journey ahead and see what foes await us in Udun. Look, too, for the forges, where the weapons with which Sauron equipped his armies were made. Okay, I don't think I actually... No, I did not. Able to... Sorry, I'm having bizarre technical issues. I will try again to accept the quest.
The fall of Sauron emptied his land of evil?
But it's not working. Left click is making me walk away. all of a sudden. What's going on here? Anybody have any ideas? This has happened once or twice before, but like there's some mode on or something. No, I never did try to walk. I never did try to walk. Yeah, is it... What is the... Huh. Well, look at the time. Yeah, no, I think there's some mode? Targeting mode or something? Yeah, I got nothing. I can't click on anything. I can't left click on any menu. I might just have to turn it off and back on again, I think. Yeah. Well, all right. Anyway, we're just about at the time anyway. And this is the beginning of the Mordor quest. I was going to do this first one and talk to the people here, and then they were going to send me on. But we can just as well start there next time. This is, after all, the beginning of the Mordor stuff. So let us start next time in Mordor, and we will... Yeah, I've done Mordor, but I did it rapidly, skipping so much. So I'm looking forward to a nice completionist trek through Mordor here. Getting the full story, because one of the consequences of doing this more quickly with Wigand, my guardian, who's just running through the epic. I say running. He does run, but he only runs about once a year, so he doesn't make that much fast progress. But anyway, one issue with that is I kept getting confused, like with the names, and it was hard to really keep track of the storylines, I found. Like the different factions and exactly what's going on and who's whom. So that's I look forward to kind of sorting it out a little bit more. Okay. Cool. Exactly. I didn't get to stop and smell the filth. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay. So very good. I think I will stop here. I will say, I'm delighted. I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm delighted to report that the Kickstarter we were doing for Rings and Realms has reached its goal today. Just this morning, that happened. So very excited about that. I'm gonna be filming. So Rings and Realms, for those of you who don't know, is our analysis show of Rings of Power. We did season 1 last time. We're doing season 2 this time. Really excited to be back in the film studio filming that. I'll be in there all week. Next week is insane because our goal, we're going to do 3 totally separate episodes. Like we're going to do a separate episode for each of the first 3 show episodes instead of just doing a combo one for the 3 that they're dropping together. But it means we're filming and editing 3 episodes next week. So, and I'm going to Seattle, by the way. So I definitely won't be here next week because I'm going to be on the plane to Seattle for Cascade Moot. So I'm going to Seattle for Cascade Moot. I'm going to be in the studio the whole rest of the time. It's going to be a bonkers week, but it'll be a whole lot of fun. After that, my participation with Gryfflet. Maybe I'm glad we've come to like a pretty good stopping place, like right in between regions here, right before we really get locked into the Mordor stuff. Because I'm not sure through September and most of October, I'm not sure. I'm going to be doing some traveling for moots. I'm going to be doing, I'll be in the studio at some times. I'm not 100% sure how often my Fridays are going to be required, but I think quite a bit actually. So we'll see. a little unpredictable. Definitely not next week. The week after that, who knows? So whether I will be able to show up on Fridays will be a little bit of a mystery. But in any case, really delighted to be working on that again. Thanks everybody for joining me this week, and I will, sooner or later, I will see you guys around again. Thanks everybody for listening. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.